And time to switch tack just a little bit. We've been talking to Air Force friends, and now time to talk to folks from U.S. Army Central here at Shaw Air Force Base. There's some over at Patton Hall on the other side, and we're pleased to have with us our special guest this morning. COL James Royse is with us, and he is with the head of the G2.
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a great, beautiful day here in Shaw.
Isn't it, though?
It is.
It is a nice day. First of all, let's find out a little bit about COL James Royse. Where are you from? Where's home?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. Right. So pretty familiar with the South, and served all over in the Army. So
how long
lived. Well, I was commissioned in 1991. I started at West Point in 1987. So I've been in uniform about 31 years.
Wow, that is quite the career.
Indeed.
Have you, and now G2, let's tell folks what you do. You're in intelligence.
G2 does intelligence, right? So the Army has 7 warfighting functions. One of those is the intelligence warfighting function, and we take care of synchronizing that for U.S. Army Central. We integrate ourselves with Central Command, and then all the different intelligence agencies that are out there. As you know, there's a lot going on in the region, and so we stay pretty busy.
And when you say the region, that means your sphere of influence,
right,
which essentially, in a nutshell, is the Middle East.
The Middle East and Central Asia as well, right, and South Asia. So from Pakistan across to Egypt and as far north as Kazakhstan.
Yeah. Well, what can you tell us about intelligence? I told you, when I talk to folks in intelligence, I always make the joke that if you tell me too much, you're going to have to kill me, and I don't want that. And you said I might get a visit from the FBI, and I don't want that either.
No, we don't need any investigations.
So I want you to be able to tell us as much about what you can do that you can.
Well, I would tell you about our people and our posture and the presence in the region, and then our partners as well. So
all right.
The first thing I would tell you is our people, and that's the team we work with here at Shaw inside the G2 shop, and
right,
that includes soldiers and non-commissioned officers, warrant officers, Department of the Army, civil servant civilians, and contract civilians. We have a team from across the full breadth of everybody the department employs,
right,
as well as representatives from the Guard, Reserve, and Active Army. So we're a total force team here in the G2 at Army Central.
Yeah.
And that means we can kind of take care of a lot of things. We've got a diverse background, skill set, and we really understand our craft when it comes to intelligence and integrating that across the theater.
I know intelligence gets probably over-romanticized in TVs and movies and things like that. Any accuracy to what we see portrayed when folks think of intelligence? You think about the spies, the James Bond, and all that. And I know in reality it is not exactly that.
So there's a spectrum of things that we do, and some of it might be as sexy as what you see on TV sometimes, and some of it's just plain hard work and attention to detail. So, I wouldn't romanticize it too much, but it's certainly very critical.
Work and paperwork.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah. That's right. We take care of a lot of that here so that the troops in the field forward in the central region can be as efficient and effective as possible. And they're there for good reason. We're there for 3 named operations. We have Freedom Sentinel in Afghanistan still going on. We have Inherent Resolve up in Iraq and Syria still going on. And of course we have Spartan Shield, which is really about enabling our partners in the Gulf region to counter the biggest threat in the region that the U.S. is concerned with, which is still Iran.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot to focus on, and those are very diverse missions. They're not any way the same as each other, and we support them all from here at Shaw and from our forward command post in Kuwait.
Obviously, since we're operating really in their neighborhood, and that sphere of operation, wherever you guys are in Kuwait or Afghanistan or wherever you guys are, how important is it that we have a good working relationship as far as sharing intelligence all with our partner nations that we're with over there? And I guess it's important to make sure everybody's on the same page as well.
That's right.
Too, as far as
absolutely.
Goes.
So we do that. We make sure that we share intelligence in a responsible way.
Right.
We have a very deliberate process for determining how much we can share and when, but it's all about making sure we have shared awareness of the threats that we face together.
Right.
And in every case, we're in somebody else's country helping them to restore their governance and their security for their people. And so certainly my personal preference is that we share as much as possible.
Right.
But we always have to consider the U.S. interest when we do that, and then we develop a very deliberate process for that. And we've gotten so good at that over the last 15 years of war. We really started out very shaky on that. I think it was one of the areas we didn't focus on much before 9/11, and now it's a routine part of how we do business. We really certify people to help us do that. We push it out, and we make big coalitions so that we can share broadly across them so that everybody knows what's going on. So you'll see that in Afghanistan. You'll certainly see it in Iraq and Syria right now.
Has technology changed a lot in the way that you're able to gather intelligence, and is that a big part of what you guys do as well too?
Oh, absolutely. In 1987 when I came in, the internet was a very new thing.
Yeah.
So we've added a domain since I've been in the Army, and that's the cyber domain, and that shapes a lot of how we can share intelligence, because we can use computer technology and communication technology in a modern way to help with that. It also looks at other ways that we can access information. So that domain has become a very big deal from an intelligence perspective. And recently, in the last 5 years or so, we've stood up an Army Cyber Command, and U.S. Cyber Command has stood up. So those are big parts of where the Department of Defense is changing. And
we've had a lot of folks, and in fact, we've talked to a lot of your cybersecurity experts and all, and that is a huge area of interest, but also a huge area of concern, because
that's right.
Apparently, the bad guys can be sitting somewhere at a computer terminal somewhere, and they know what they're doing and whatnot. You guys got to be one step ahead of them at all times.
Right, and a lot of our adversaries are really good at that, but we are too. Yeah. And our focus is on securing ourselves, making sure that we can talk on all our networks all the time, and we spend a lot of energy on that as well. So it's just another dimension in addition to all those things you can imagine from a physical domain that we do.
I know you can't give out things like troop strength and things like that, but how many people work within the G2 and over,
We're just over 100 strong with all that I mentioned before, soldiers, civilians, and non-commissioned officers, warrant officers. And then we have additional folks that help us out from the 513th Military Intelligence Brigade. They're stationed at Fort Gordon, but they maintain the team here at Shaw that works directly with us. And then they support our command with intelligence and intelligence collection and processing and analysis throughout the region.
Yeah, and of course Fort Gordon is right up the road there in Georgia.
That's right.
Not too terribly far away. I imagine, like other folks that we talked to from U.S. Army Central, you guys spend not a tremendous amount of time here at the home office, but you're back and forth probably a lot, I would imagine.
There's a lot of travel. We have folks who rotate forward on fairly long deployments, about 6 months at a time, to stay at our forward headquarters in Kuwait. Yeah. We have others who go forward for exercises anywhere from a few weeks to a little over a month. So it just depends on what the tempo is demanding. And of course, we're all ready to go at a moment's notice to go forward, as we did for the initial part of Inherent Resolve, and be the headquarters, the Joint Task Force headquarters for that.
In addition to sharing a lot of this shared intelligence and all with our partner nations and all, does a lot of this stuff, get filtered up as well? I imagine it does, to the Pentagon and
you bet.
Oval Office and anywhere else it needs to be.
We're really proud when our intelligence that we work on and find and develop a paper on or whatever finds its way to General Votel or the Chairman of Defense, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, or the Secretary of Defense. And sometimes, even stuff our guys work on, especially our 513th and my brigade folks, might wind up in front of the President. It just depends on what it is and how we've come across it. So,
what's the biggest challenge in the intelligence community today as far as what you guys do? What's the biggest challenge you guys face?
Many times for me, it's the sharing part. It's figuring out how to get those relationships built and really build good trust with our partners, so that we can ensure that we set conditions for any future contingencies. So that's probably, we work on that really hard, but it takes a lot of additional diplomatic effort, and it has to sometimes go all the way up to the Director of National Intelligence to really set those sharing formal relationships up.
Yeah. Well, I admire what you guys do, and I know that is a very, very vital part of what U.S. Army Central does and our military in general. We have to have intelligence gathering. We've got to be able to share with our partners, and they've got to be able to share with us, so that we can be one step ahead of those who wish to oppose us.
Absolutely.
That's what you guys do, and I appreciate it, and I admire your service. What are you've got 30 plus years in, sir? What are your future plans?
Well, I'll still be here at Shaw for probably good another 18 months, and then we'll see. I got a couple more years after that before they make me retire, and I probably will still serve for a bit longer. No idea where yet. We certainly want to thank our Shaw neighbors in our community here. My wife and my daughter and I live right here in Sumter, and we enjoy our community. We've been growing into it still over the past 8 months since we got here last July. But we really want to thank everybody for their continued support here at home and for our soldiers abroad. So it's a great feeling.
I got to admit, and I make every once in a while I'll make this joke that we get somebody in that's a colonel or somebody or a general or whatnot from the military here, and they look like they just walked out of central casting. You look like a colonel, sir. I'm going to tell you that you've got the look, the square jaw, the haircut. You've got everything that you can imagine.
Well, maybe that'll be my future. I might find a way to get into being an extra somewhere or something and fill in the background of a movie.
There you go. Colonel James Royse with a G2 here at U.S. Army Central. Thanks for being with us, my friend.
Thanks, Derek. It was great to be here.
Nice to meet you.